Good morning. Welcome to the Groton Utilities Commission / Water Pollution Control Authority meeting for April 12, 2023. It's in the council chambers and also on Zoom. So we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call. We have Commissioner Scully, Godley, Giuliani, and Chairman Hedrick here. So we have a quorum. Commissioner Mathenall is excused. New business. We're going to be discussing the operating capital budgets of electric, water, and sewer. And with that, I will turn it over to you.
So good morning, everyone. So today we're going to present the Groton Utility, the fiscal year 2024 post budget. And before we start, go to each of the division. I want to go through the topics we're going to discuss for the budget presentation. So showing on this list, first we're going to talk about the contribution to the city of Groton, and then we're talk about the non-direct expense allocation. We followed by the rates and the revenue budget, our cost budget, operation and maintenance expense budget, and then we'll talk about the capital project, the budget, and the service and cash flow. So, oh yeah, before we started, and we're going to review the budget positions for the year 24.
I'll link that up here somewhere. Sorry.
Yeah, I can talk to you. You want to do it? You want to?
It's fine.
Either way. I'll do it.
Okay.
So I'll just hit real quick the budget position. This year's budget is a hard one because the last 2 years the expense budget's basically seen over 8% inflation hit it for 2 years in a row. So to maintain our rate tracks, we actually went through and we did the maintenance expense budget several times, and where we ended up, it ended up that we needed to trim some capital jobs and actually some positions in order to keep a flat line and consistent maintenance on the system. So if you look at the org chart, FY23 had 124 positions budgeted with an additional 3 for line department succession plan. 2 of those positions in the line department have since turned over. So we are down to 1 line department succession plan. And with a rest of the budget totaling 120. So budget year to budget year, that's a -6 on staffing level. 3 of them came from water. 1 was distribution, 1 was watershed patrol, and 1 was tech aid. And then 1 also came from electric, which was a junior electrical engineer. Also in IT, Sue economized their labor by repurposing a data position to an applications position. The applications position is going to be key in rolling out technology as we move forward with the computer-based maintenance management system, CityWorks, and also with getting live in the trucks with the distribution systems, both water, sewer, and electricity. So additionally, will be additional cloud like things like Springbrook to keep up with current programs. So you're going to see as we go across, there's modest increases in all the expense budgets, a little bit of decrease in the non-bonded capital spending, and especially water and sewer, and a little bit in electric too. And then you're going to see that helps us maintain our rate tracks as predicted. Are there any questions on the org chart?
I have some.
Yep.
Basically, your terminology, controller. Top left hand corner is,
That's E.
it's key, okay. Key accounts has been changed to business development.
Yes.
How many positions are open right now? I just happened to look at the city's webpage for job positions, electric ops, executive assistant, chief plant operator, purchasing agent. Open positions right now.
Yes, the purchasing agent works for the finance department. But those positions are open, and there is an IT support position open. Also, it isn't posted right now for the job writers being, open.
That runs job and so.
Right. Yeah, operating
Manager, electric
ops manager and electric.
He's done the end of this month.
Timer party Friday.
But I think the 28th is his last day.
28 or 29. In the water department, you have filled Rick's old job,
Rick was replaced with Joe Pratt,
raised a position.
Mike Weber.
Like, where's do I?
Mo is the foreman.
He's the general foreman.
In George, it just didn't go in the budget package. I have, I can get you guys if you stop by the office, this with names on it. I just don't put that in the package that goes formally through the system.
So Joe's water manager,
Yes,
Yes.
or he,
Joe's manager of water and wastewater operation.
correct. And then I see a foreman's job. I don't see the other one.
Yeah, it's down the bottom, over meter department and distribution.
That's a foreman.
That's Mo.
It's
And
over
his
to the
manager.
right. The manager,
Where's Weber?
Over on the right side, you'll see manager water, wastewater engineering.
Oh, over there. Okay.
In the color code for the different unions or non-union.
Right. Okay, so there's been some moving around. Because Ray pretty much did the foreman's job and the engineering job, so he split those two. Okay. Got it.
Any other questions?
Good for now.
Nope, okay, go ahead. All right,
Actually, the electronics, is just taking on to this, that's for the persons, even using the each steps in this part, if we can have another one. Which,
On it. The main names are. I just have to know some.
yeah, they do have one, they have some changes. So next, we're going to start with the contribution with City of Groton. So Groton Utilities this year were budgeted contributed like the cash for 1 million to the city. This amount is the same amount as last year, and based on our calculations, so we have the our formula to calculate how much they return to the city. Based on our net earnings of current year, we review every February, and based on the calculation, and we also look at not over the 90% of below 90% last year, or the over 150% of last year. So based on the review with the city and finance director, and we budgeted the contribute 4.1 million as cash to the city for the budget year 24. And for the additional, other than the cash contribution, we have for the other like the additional cash and non-cash contribution, 2.5 million. This is we have the list under the electric, the budget on page 5. Have the big list. This is not a presentation, concept. It's not like the electric budget package.
Page 5, how's that look? Page 5 of the electric budget. Oh, so if you go to your electric budget tab, it's on page 5. The electric budget tab.
Next to your cash.
So if you go to the electric tab, and then page 5 of that presentation has the contribution. Yes.
Yep. So here we have the total list, the detailed list for the other contributions from the ground utility to the city, and the 2.5 million. Almost 50% of that amount came from the IT support, which the geo IT department the cost to support the city side for the expense and then the geo also support like the 50% of the city finance department and 83% of the HR department, and also some other like the building maintenance cost and like the city and concern contributions. So this is the list of the total the GEO contribution to the city other than cash transfer. Any questions on this page?
Okay.
So as we said, so GEO's very proud of work to continue supporting the city side with cash and non-cash contribution total 6.6 million for the year to date. Next, we're just want to talk about how we allocated our expense among the 3 divisions. So currently, it's the direct expense we charge to the division directly, like each of their operation costs we charge to the division directly. But for non-direct expense like the IT, admin, cost service, we charge their cost to the 3 divisions based on our customer number, which currently is 60% to the electric, and 30% to the water, and 10% to the sewer. This is the methodology we're using to budget our non-direct expense for all 3 divisions.
Is this based on volume of revenue?
This is based on the number of customers.
Customer.
Yes. Actually, customer counts. So this is overall for the assumptions how we allocate the cost. The next, we're going to start with the electric division, the budget discussion. We started with rates. So currently, we have our rates, the approved rates for 3 years, and listed over there is the April 21 negative 1.3%, and April 22 and April 23 is 0 increase. There's no change. This is the approved rates 3 years ago. So this April 1st, 23 is the last approved rates, and we're going to start our the cost service study for electric soon this year. But we use this approved rates for our budget, revenue budget. And also our current revenue budget also include the current PPA and TCA rates, which is effective for January 1st of 2023. And so currently the GEO, the electric bill for 700 kilowatt hours, including the PPA TCA adjustment and also including the conservation funds, is 44% or $110.82 below the benchmark current rates. This is the comparison for June and the benchmark.
So the benchmark being Eversource.
Correct.
When that's calculated, you calculate in the service charge, the monthly service charge.
Yes,
That is calculated in that calculated. Yes.
correct.
This is an all-in number, right?
All in.
So it's about all-in bottom line.
So revenue budget, we're using the usage data and with the approved rates plus PTC conservation charge. And proposed year 24, the residual electric revenue, which is not including the pass-through sales, the total of 55.9 million, which is 7% or 3.5 million. The increase compared with last year's budget. So our total kilowatt hour sales for residual is budgeted like say 2% increase, which is driven by the residential and industrial. And rate increase, there's a 0 rate increase. And the revenue budget includes the PTC and conservation like I said before. So any question for the revenue side? Next is power cost. When we do the power cost on the budget, we use the CMEC, the all in cost forecast. So we received as of for the March, and also we look at the our base rate set up in our approved rate increase. So the current base power rates together with the PPATC is currently sitting at 12 cents per kilowatt hours. So proposed year 24, our purchase power cost total is 29.7 million. This is just for residual, not including the pass-through the sales. And this is reflected in 40% increase for the 3.2 million. So you compare with our revenue budget, this kind of increase is just pass through for the total revenue increase. Most likely it covers the increase of our cost. So with this budget, our Groton risk stabilization fund and CMEC estimated to be 12.5 million and the year end of fiscal year 24 after a capital drawdown of 2.5 million as we planned for these 3 years of retract. So this amount will ensure we have keep at least 3 months of our power bill coverage at CMEC level, which is required by these funds. So any question for the power cost budget?
Good.
Next, we're going to review the operation and maintenance expense budget. So when we do the budget, we also use the historic data with no change. And the proposed year 24 the operation and maintenance expense total 17 million, which is 2% or 350,000 higher than last year's budget. So this is include the labor operation and maintenance expense total 5.1 million. And non-labor operation maintenance expense for 11.9 million. And next page will go through the major change in the traffic. The change. So the labor OEM expense 5.1 million reflects the 1% increase for the 46,000, which is driven by the reasons, other than the standard increase for unit non-unit increase with the combined with the proposed performance-based step increasing. And the succession plan changed last year. You can already reviewed the chart. Last year we budgeted 3 of 9 positions for a succession plan, and this year we only budgeted 1. And also we removed 1 FTE from the PM group. So all the 3 changes is the result of the total, the change of the 1% increase of 46,000 for the labor budget. Non-labor operation maintenance expense total 11.9 million, which is 2% or 269,000 higher than last year's budget, which is driven by the reasons. The operation side, the almost 50% of the increase came from the operation side, which is 126,000 increase. This is driven by the treating cost, and we have 3 years the treating contract signed for year 23, 24, and 25. So this is the second year of the signed contract, and it's 4% increase about last year. And map and records cost increased by another almost 70,000, which is the cost for the Trimble software license and professional services. So this is a major driver for the increase operating side. Customer care and business development, the total increase
Sorry.
2% or 14,000, which is major driver is the auto pay, the cost increase because they have more customer enrolled into the auto pay, so that the transaction charge is getting increased as more the cost for that, and also the increase of postage cost, which is like the increase for the customer service, the budget increase. And the conservation and no management is pure driven by the kilowatt hour usage. This is the charge we collected through the kilowatt hours billing to the customer, and they will transfer to the CNEC, the conservation funds. When the customer applying for the rebate, they're using that the funds to reimburse the customer for the energy saving programs. And next is the yes.
So the more people that use auto pay, the more cost that you pay on individual, each customer you pay for auto pay.
Charging by their transactions.
So it's cheaper to do it that way than the other way.
When
You know what I mean?
we like auto pay because we know that they're going to pay. The transaction charge gets wrapped into the total cost in the end anyway. It is about $1 transaction per person.
Okay. But you know you're gonna get paid.
You know you're gonna
Yeah, guaranteed. Expensive doing operations.
Postage is going up next month. By 3 cents.
That's the cost of the customer care, their department. So actually IT department for year 24, their total the budget is down by 10% for the 68% for the electrification. And it's because all the contingency fund were reduced to 0. And any question?
Just because of military reduced.
The budget was really tight and we just kept going through it, looking for more money to keep It was basically the water side that we were working on. So all the auxiliary departments that split 60-30-10, we went through and did 2 passes on those and just kept bringing the number down until the water could afford it. So the key to that was when we get to the water budget, make note of the water cash flow. And the way we're trying to minimize how low cash reserves go for the water department.
Anything else here?
And also the admin and the finance cut the budget 2% or 6,000 for electric division share, and we cut most likely from the training and conference budget. And administrative and general increased by 6% or 180. This is a major driver driven by the employee benefit increased by 5%. From the per guidance of the city budget, and also the finance software, the clouding cost were have the budget to moving the Springbrook's finance the software to clouding. So this is major driver for the increase of NG cost. Any question for the option amendment expense?
Move on to capital.
So the capital budget, the total for the year 2024, we budgeted 7.2 million, which including the non-funded capital 4.3 million, which will be 2.5 million will be funded by the reservation funds, and the rest will funded by the cash. And funded capital total 2.5 million. And also the 400,000 we're going to utilize the Senate REGI fund to for the LED conversion the projects. So this is total the capital budget for the electric. Next page we'll go through the details. Non-funded capital 4.3 million is going to support for the listed the project distribution system upgrade 1.8 million, substation upgrades 676,000, metering with it over the 225,000, and facility and others 861,000. And customer care project for electric portion is 108,000, and IT project allocated to electric division is 164,000. This made up a total 4.3 million of non-funded capital. And the unfunded capital 2.5 million is the this is the rest of the 2016 funding. We're going to use all of this money to the distribution and transmission system upgrades and to finish in 2016 funding. And the next page. So before we move to the next page, any question for the capital project budget?
The care project, the IT project, that represents 60% of the cost of the projects.
Correct. This is 60% of the total IT and customer care projects. So next page is debt service. So for electric division for year 2024, our total debt payment is 5.2 million, and due debts is 3.1 million, and TBC debts is 2.1 million. So this year we listed our current outstanding debts on these slides, and currently as end of June 30 of 23, we're going to have for outstanding, there is total 34 million. And you can see on this list, the TVC bonds will be paid off by February of 29. So this is the service.
Question.
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
The electric bond, 2022.
Mhm.
It says 14.4. 14.4 million. That's the $15.2 million bond.
Correct. This is pure for the current transition projects.
But all that money is being refunded by you guys.
They will be we will. I shouldn't say it's refunded, but we're going to get the PDF credit through the ISO
Yes.
and to pay off this, pay off these debts.
So you use that that money coming back from ISO to pay off this debt,
Correct.
but it goes to CBAC, so.
So
I understand.
the PTF transmission credit. CMAC is our representative on ISO.
Correct.
We get direct credit for everything that we spend on our substations and PTF directly through the bill. It credits our transmission part of the bill. He is working on tracking it separately so that we can show that to ourselves, basically, that our PTF credit is more than the bond payment with interest and additional profit. So we're actually watching it separately.
Yeah.
And we're gonna break it out. The current bill is not broken out. He is doing some pretty good accounting to figure out the details of it. Because we wanted to kind of see it. So at some point in the future, when we get that figured out, maybe we'll show you the way the cash flow is working for the
Yeah.
transmission part. Because it's going to be very, very interesting. But to tell you the absolute truth, we don't have it totally segregated out yet. CMAC is working on the details. Plus, this year's transmission submission that's done by December in next year's will actually culminate. We're going to have about $1 million a month, a year income off of that. This current budget has about 600,000.
So when Senate gave us the oil cost forecast, they already just combined this credit, the PDF credit, offset the current transition cost and come back together. We give us a net. So right now we are requesting them to separate the true transition cost and how much of the PDF credit. So this way we can track how much the credit we actually got through this transmission project. So we're going to track that separately and use that money to pay for our debts for this project.
Yeah, I would be interested to follow that. Do you apply to the PTF in monthly, quarterly?
Annually.
Annually.
So
Okay.
actually by this time, they're requesting us to report how much the transmission and the PTF quantified, not all the transmission is quantified for the PTF, right?
Has to be in service.
Yeah. So we need to report how much we actually spend as of end of December of 22 and how much we estimate we're going to spend by the end of 23 to report to CNEC. So they were going to put all together because the revenue requirement report and submit to the ISO. They have the tool to do the calculation. So not just us, we need to see how much as a whole pool to see how much percentage of us our cost. It's pretty complicated.
Yeah.
Their
It's
calculations.
like 0.02% of the whole thing. So everything Eversource is doing or anybody for the whole ISO,
Yeah.
like UI, et cetera, it's all, so it could be $80 billion and we're 0.01% of that, right?
Yeah.
But it's still significant as far as we're concerned. But they solicit us regularly, like when we did the 1285T, 5 to 5 switch, that was all the money, the labor, et cetera, we told CMAQ what we spent and that it was in service, and they added that to the PTO. Because those caps, those are captured as part of
they're
it.
coming back at the credit. On top of it.
But that's our family. Also, we put in the budget is recognized as a, the people credit payoff is, 22, the bonds.
Well, as I was saying, one of the things that we put out for this commission to the council is that this project is gonna pay for itself. So
Yeah.
I'm very interested to ensure that happens. So,
It just seems to me that if it shows up like this on here, it gets rolled into the rate. Not.
It nets out in the end. So even if it stayed in the transmission credit, it would all net out in the final rate. But we're gonna track it separate so that we can watch it.
yes,
Almost.
Okay.
Thank you.
move on.
Okay, next page is the cash flow. So proposed year 24, the cash flow from the operation is negative 1.7 million. This will bring our cash balance from current 16.2 million down to 14.5 million at the end of the year 24. So this balance will still like over the minimal cash balance recommended by the conservative study by 136,000. So we're still above the minimal cash requirement at end of year 24 for this budget. And also we're trying to keep our days cash on hand for maximum 90 to 120 days. So that's our goal for our financial. So this is last slides for the electric division about the presentation. Any questions before we go to the water division?
Questions or comments on electric? Okay, we'll move on.
Marie, can you go back to the presentation?
Sorry, yeah. Okay. Hold on a second. Sorry.
I think it's in the presentation. we just had
There we go.
that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize.
Okay. So now we're going to review the water division, the present budget for year 24. Water division are the current rate track is the 4% increase. We are starting in October of 22, and the last one approved rate is the effective October of 1st of 2022. Currently, we're doing our our proposed 3 years water rate increase for next 3 years is 5%, 5%, 4%, starting off October 1st of 23. And our current revenue budget, we're using the approved rate of October 21, 22. and proposed the water rate increase for the 21-23. I mean, the October 23. So currently our GU residential customer water bill with the 500 cubic feet is 1% or the 49 cents below the benchmark current rates. This is a rate comparison for our current water rates. Next page, please. Revenue budget, we use the historic, the water sales data and with the rates approved the October 22 and proposed October 23. And currently total water revenue budget for year 24 is 12.5 million, which is 5% increase or the 633,000. This is driven by the purely rate increase 5% proposed, and the cubic feet sale is 1% increase. And this majority came from the commercial customers. Next page, please. So, any questions for the water revenue side? Then we go to the expense, operation maintenance expense. The total budget is 9.6 million, which is 8% or the 676,000 higher than last year's budget. Labor budget 3.6 million, which is the 1.6% decrease or 60,000 less than last year's budget. And non-labor expense is total 6 million, is 14% or the 735,000 more than last year's budget. Next page, please. Labor side, the decrease major driven by other than the standard increase for non-union costs, this the increase. We removed 3 FTE as mentioned earlier, and also we reduced the labor allocation to sewer division by 34,000 for maintenance of sewer connection system. This is kind of a true up based on our historic data to do this budget adjustment. So this is a major driver for the change of the labor the budget. Any questions?
Okay.
And non-labor costs like environmental about due to the high inflation for the past 2-3 years, and water division we really have the discussion. We went back several times and trying to trim our water budget. So we look for the like the possibility trying to make the budget work, and we ended up with the total budget is still the 14%, 735,000 higher than last year. This is major. You can see the major driver is from the water operation side, is the total 32% or the 300,000 increase from last year's budget. This is due to the chemical cost up by almost 300,000. This is 133% higher than last year. And the purchase power is 140,000 higher than last year. This is the weight bill, the electric department bill to the water. This the electric usage for the water treatment plant. And the purification cost up by 100,000 for the filter replacement, and the pumping equipment up by 85,000. So this is a major driver for the water operation, the cost increase.
What is purification? What does that mean?
The gas filter, we replace the every filter line we have Groton, and we usually replace every 4 years.
So one of the new filters needs its carbon replaced. And then it will be staggered, so that one will get replaced every year on a 4-year cycle. So this is the first to go. And the worry is if we don't replace it now in a timely manner, we might need to replace 2 at the same time, and it will just double the cost. In the end, the cash out is the same, but it would be nice to have a maintenance process where we're doing 1 year. And then by the time you get to the end of the 4, you're separating them out.
And the other is kind of like the customer care, IT and admin. This is like the reasons for the change, because this is just like I said, this is not direct expense just allocated to the water portion. So we can see the customer care is increased by the auto pay and postage, IT decreased by cutting all the company and admin and finance is cutting the training and accounting cost. And the energy cost increase, the major driver is also the 5% increase of the plus the Springbrook, the clouding cost. So this is the overall for the operation balance expense budget for water side. Like I said, the major driver, the increase is operation for the bunch of the water treatment and the cost increase. Any questions? Next is capital budget. For year 24, the capital budget total is 2.5 million. Non-budget capital 1.1 million, and the budget capital is 1.38 million. Next, please. So non-budget capital, the major one is the education connection project, 1 million. Budget entry we carry from the this year to next year. We just started, and we're hoping we can finish that by year 24. And the total project might cost like almost 2 million, but mortgage is going to pay half of that. So this is this interim collection project we budgeted for the year 24, and the other is just the customer care and IT capital project allocated to the water portion. And next page, please. So the funded capital 1.38 million. This is we're going to utilize the 22 bonding tools for the listed project. Ready Avenue Tech 150,000. Distribution system upgrades 5 million, and pump station upgrades 395,000, and warranty and replacement 135,000, and metering is 200,000. Any question for me? This capital project?
Randy tank, 150,000. When are we gonna replace that? When are we gonna pull it out and put it in?
So the 150,000 is for the engineering,
Yeah.
designing the project, to refurbish it.
Refurbish it.
We,
We're
so
not gonna replace it.
we can't find land to do it. So we're gonna, the engineering firm says that we should be able to do a refurb that will get us 20 years. And in the background, we're gonna have a to-do item that looks for property going for sale up around the tank area to set the company up to be able to replace the tank going out over the next, after 20 years. So we'll take the next 20 years and have to look for property up there.
And just a quick reminder here is the entry of the branding tag. The total budgeted for $1 million by using our 22 funding. In year 22, the The 24 is just like civil engineering parts, and we have the Bruce did a great job and have 5 years capital plan. So we're going to like based on this plan, there's more construction projects going to 25 and 26.
Right, and if you go in your package on the tab for water, in the section for water, you'll also see a spreadsheet that has how much the capital plan is by year, whether it's bonded or non-bonded funding, in the tabs behind the specific sections, water, sewer, and electric.
That be the under the highlights of the very end of the package is about the package, about the ends in master 2 page. Something in very end of the whole package. The highlights in
Following that.
I want to get that the rules have been written out. Keep going. Keep going. There. Keep going. Yep, this is the one.
Mayor, if you got an early copy, if you're missing a page or two, let us know.
Well, I need an update on the presentation because there's been some portions that
You can
changes were made.
Sorry.
No,
After our
that's right.
discussion, we said we'd probably put some details over there instead of have, you know.
That's okay. I had the brief before, they have the current slides. I'll catch the current slide before we brief the council.
So the page you are looking at, right, is the total R22 water dumping and for this 7.5 million and for 5 years and gradually annual tax is first one and total budgeted 4 million and separated by 5 years in cost of spending. But we update this every year for a 5 years plan. And this is the current one we have.
I don't like that. Sort of thing.
I think I have this, yeah.
We'll go check yours.
Yeah, we will. We'll check it out. We're good. All right, any questions on that? Move on to cash flow.
Before we move to cash flow, we have also shown that the service total payment for year 24 is 3.9 million. And 1.1 is interest payment and 2.8 is the principal payment. And end of June 30 of 23, the total outstanding day for water division is 46 million. And so you can see the largest one is the BWSRF, that's the day for the water treatment plant. We finished last year. So we're going to pay off by 2041 for that one. 2 years. Water division, based on the proposed budget, the net cash flow from operation is negative 2.1 million, which will bring our cash balance from 6.5 million down to 4.4 million at the end of the year 24. So this amount will be 1.2 million below our minimum cash requirement for the cost of study like 3 years ago. So can you go to next page, please? So this slides we're updating our water cash flow projections for next 5 6 years. So can you go ahead, please? Thank you. So this cash flow projection, we use the assumption is our rate increase this year. the year 24, 5%, and the year after is 5%, 4%, and after until the year 29. And we're using the operation maintenance expense increase. It's kind of based on the inflation rate. So current year year 24 we use 8%, and year 25 5%, and after that we use 3%. Expect everything go back to the normal. So based on this assumption, we did this cash balance projection. So we can see currently we under the minimum, the yellow line, orange line on the top is the minimum cash requirement based on the conservative study. So you can see where cash is under the minimum current year and will keep going down. And the lowest will be the year 28. We're going to go down to 1.9 million, and the year 29 we will see slightly increase coming back. So this is the current cash projection based on the current our data we have. Any questions?
Commissioner Scholar.
So I was looking at this graph going down like it is, but those aren't the numbers that Mark Beauchamp just gave us if we did the rate increases. His cash projections are much higher than what this graph is. Just based on what.
So what
So
the conservative study, and they're using the 5% for the inflation rate, and which is actually we didn't kind of miss the current the actual inflation rate. So that's the problem we have right now. And also I don't think they by the time when they started the conservative study, they started in last November, December-ish, and by that time we didn't have, they are like kind of chemical all this cost to put into the study. So I think that's the part we're missing right now.
but we just presented this last month.
It's because the study is done like 2 months ago.
The base year was off by 8%. He took the 5 and did it twice, and then when this year, we got to the point where this year's closed, there was another 8% on top. He didn't carry another 8% through on his inflation rate.
So his
We're behind
cover
by-
study, he chose the base year of year 22, so means the 23 the increase of the cost, and we will say 5% for these 2 years. So that's the part of the means the base year.
You're talking $3 million difference between your projections, cash flow, and what he had. That's-
So how do we reconcile that? Or is there?
This is another reason why I went back several times with operations and the GMs trying to figure out how to, on our budget to for all the possibility of the expense side to be the.
Inflation in chemicals ate our lunch.
Did he overestimate?
He underestimated.
So he underestimated.
He underestimated
expenses
inflation and
and
chemicals
inflation.
and power and fuel.
He didn't underestimate anything. He used our base year in percentage. He did a 5%, and then he did another 5%.
Yeah.
And the actual was 8% and 8%.
The model year was different than what we experienced.
And then
That's
this,
what it is.
yeah. So the actuals just came in so much higher in the last
Did we
year.
know that going into this presentation? Do we know his information was up?
This is all in the last 6 weeks. Because both came together simultaneously. But so you can think about this for a minute. Do you want to go to more than 5% increases in water? If not, we've got to work on the other side. So we're working on the other side very, very hard. As a result, we're losing some people slots, we're,
Well,
you know, and we're being extremely tight, so,
well, and I get that, but it's important that the information that we put out to the public is accurate and not conflicting, because now it's like, what's the truth? Is the truth there? Is the truth here? Is it somewhere in the middle?
it's,
I mean, do we really know? I mean, for a layperson, they're gonna say, okay, why'd you do the study? Because the study was wrong. And you'll say, well, the study was right when we presented it, but we didn't have all the information. So, you know, somewhere along the line, we gotta figure something out here.
well, it's just like purchase power. We estimate the next year based on what this last month or the year before, 2 months ago, data. We could miss by millions of dollars by the time we get to the end of the year, just like we did last year. So, you know, that went up, and we'll be presenting the purchase power adjustment over the next couple of months to show what we're estimating it's gonna do in the future of the rest of the year, just like the expenses come in on water.
Well, one of the things we did for purchase powers, and we said we were gonna evaluate it periodically,
Yes,
which internally we defined as roughly 6 months,
Right.
right? And so we're gonna be presenting and looking at that based on what we talked about. We should probably do the same thing here. Keep an eye on this. And I know you're gonna be doing that anyway, but, you know, keep an eye on that and present it to the commission so that, you know, we can follow along with this ride, see where we're gonna be.
yeah, but the water and a little bit different from the electric, because electric, look at like you can see, the reason we put the PPATC adjustment, because the base rate we set like through the cost service studies 3 years ago is not enough to cover the current power rates. That's why we put the PPATC adjustment, but for water, we don't have such adjustment. Once the rates approved, will kind of lot for 3 years, and no matter how your, you know, the inflation rate, how high it is, so that's the difference from the water and the electric division side. Because you can see the electric rates, the approved 3 years ago is way below the current power cost in the market.
Yeah, and the one thing that's consistent is last year, we also did a water cash flow slide that showed the minimum cash level coming down. And I believe at the time, do you remember what the minimum was? It was something on the order of 3 million. It was about the same estimate. The water cost service study showed that it was sit on the order of magnitude of 6 million, 5 to 6 million. And now in the current budget, we're showing it to be around about where we did last year, maybe $1 million less. But we always knew that even when we presented the filtration plant project, we knew when we took that bonding on, we were going to be swinging by low cash reserve minimums. And the goal was to level off and then let it sweep up with hopefully 4% increases. We had to go to the 2 5s. So, I mean, we watch the cash reserves and the actual cash balance on a monthly basis anyway.
Ellie, anything else?
No, I'm all set.
Okay, anything else on water? All right, we'll move on to sewer.
Sewer division. The current approved rate is was approved in November 21, and the 3% each year for February. Starting February 22. So our current average resident customer, the sewer bill is 500 cubic feet, is 36% or the $21.31 below the benchmark current rates.
The sewer, who do we use for benchmark? No.
No,
So revenue budget is using the, also the historic sales data and with current rates. And, for year 24, we budgeted, there's no change of the QPP sale. And, the rate increase 3%. So the budget total revenue is 4.2 million, which is 3% increase or 141,000 compared with last year, the budget. Next page, please. Operation maintenance expense, the budget total 3.4 million, which is 5% or 153,000 higher than last year's budget. So labor budget total is 1.4 million, which is almost flat compared with last year. It's only 4,000 bucks higher than last year. And non-labor cost is total 2 million, which 8% or 149,000 higher than last year's budget. Labor expense is driven by the cover the standard increase plus the increasing and also reflect the reduced labor allocation from water division by 34,000 for maintenance of sewer collection system. And non-labor cost, the increase is 149,000. The major driver is the sewer operation, the increase of 147,000. And this is due to the sludge disposal, the cost go up by 40%, which is 68,000. And the chemical cost up by 25,000, and utility and fuel cost is up by 87,000. This is major driver for the operation, sewer operation side. And customer care is the same reason, auto pay cost and postage increase. IT decrease due to cutting the contingency fund. And admin and finance cutting the training conference cost by 5%. And the energy cost is the increase of benefits and the finance software cloud. So again, the major driver of the increase of the budget came from the operation side, which is the sludge cost, sludge disposal cost, chemical, fuel, and utilities. That's the major driver for the change. Any questions?
The reduction of the 34,000 for the water department, what does that mean? When the water department was the sewer, they charge you sewer. but
Yes.
They're not gonna anymore.
We think we over budget last year, how much we're going to allocate to the sewer side. So based on our actual, we trued it up for the actual, how much of the labor we allocate to the sewer side. It's being charged by the work actually they're doing. So this is the cheap for them.
So the water department will still be cleaning sewer mains, free of
Right.
charge, but your estimating they're gonna do less.
It's just a drop in actual hours. So we think we over allocate to the sewer last year.
We have less people too. On the water side. Water distribution guys that do their work, there's less of them.
You have 6 positions budgeted. According to this.
We have a
So-
position for sewer plus the allocation from the supervisor.
right. So when the distribution guys clean the sewer mains,
Yes,
they go on a work order and they bill actual.
correct.
So whether the staff here goes up or down doesn't really matter to sewer. You're doing the same work that takes the same amount of hours. And all he did was true it up to be close to what it was this year. So it was just a true up. The actual number I was looking for is probably a couple of $100,000 or more.
Well, Mark said you had less employees in the water department, not the sewer department.
Right.
water.
So you have less to allocate.
For sewer side, it is implement fees.
But water distribution is six. It used to be one. That's what one.
The sewer, the capital budget total for year 2024 is 4.15 million, including the non-funded capital 397,000 and funded budget 3.75 million. Non-funded capital, the total including the listed project, the treatment facility is 180,000, pump station 175,000. Electric system upgrades 25,000 and the IT and customer care, the project allocated to sewer portion. And the capital budget for the bonded project is total 3.75, which is used for the sewer treatment facility improvement. By using the sewer bond 2022. Any question for the capital project?
Any of this, relate the other problem.
Well, we're hoping that the HVAC
Yeah,
may help with some of it. There's gonna be new HVAC in that first building. So we're hoping that may eliminate some of it. We're also working with Electric Boat on their settling tank, on when they pump and how long they hold it and those kind of things. So we're looking at that because we think that could be also a source of the other. So we are looking at, is there anything else that we're doing that I missed?
we're still doing the mini scrubber. We're still doing the air misters. All the sampling. We're continue on with all the things that we started. The scrubber was winterized, now it's back in service. So we're still doing all of those.
Okay,
Okay. So next is the service payment. In total payment for year 2024 is 966,000. And 391 pays for the interest and 575,000 pays for the principal payment. And the year, the June 30 of 2023, the total outstanding day for the sewer division is 9,460,000. And cash flow, so by proposed 24 the sewer budget, the cash flow from operation will be the negative 658,000. And this will bring our sewer cash balance from 4.2 million down to 3.5 million. So still 1.2 million over the minimum cash requirement recommended by the cost survey study. So for sure the cash is still good, cash balance is still good. So this is overall for the sewer side. Any question before we go to the next page? The last page is just conclusion. So the proposed 24 budget will afford the three division to meet our debt service payment and allow our efficient operation and maintenance for our system, and also support the compensation plan to attract and retain our skilled high-tech workers and continue provide highly reliable and responsive service for customers. So this is proposed in the year 24 budget for discussion.
So if you're interested in details, there are details of the budgets under the electric, water, and sewer tab. And if you take a look at those, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to E or to Ron, and they can explain.
Yes, so like Mayor said, today's presentation were kind of review from the revenue operation and the capital and debt service from the higher level, and explain the major driver for all the changes. And we have even more details if you go to the package of the function highlights that goes through each cost center, listed the details of their budgeted expense, and also the changes for the budget comparison from the last years.
Now, in prior years, we've run everybody through the functional highlights. E put the larger the changes out of this packet, which is the neutral packet. It's not water, sewer, or electric. She put those highlights inside the presentation, which is what is different from the original one. And the thought was that running everybody through it twice may not be a good use of time. But everybody's here if there are any questions, and close the loop with us, and we can answer any details that
Any questions on the budget, the presentation? And like I said, if you have specific questions in any of the divisions, electric, water, sewer, please reach out to E and she can answer, or Ron, they can answer. And we're not looking to vote on this till next week, right? So we have a week. You can also bring your questions. It'd be nice to get them answered in advance, but you can also bring those questions here next week when we vote on the budget. I want everyone to be comfortable with the budgets before we move forward, before we move to the council. We're going to have a couple tough years ahead of us, particularly in water, but I think we'll be able to get through this. Any questions on the budget? All right, hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moving.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.